So what is going on, everybody? Fernando Silva here with another video, and today I want to talk about what's on my iPad, and we're going to talk about every single thing. So we're going to talk about the wallpaper, the icon pack that I use, all the different apps in my dock, all the different widgets that I use, and then we're also going to talk about the accessories that are constantly on the iPad at all times, no matter the situation, whether I'm at a desk, whether I'm traveling, or whether I'm just using it for fun, leisure, or productivity, whatever the case may be. These are the accessories that I have in it at all times. And if you stick around, we'll probably do a little giveaway that you can actually redeem in this video depending on who gets there first. So definitely stick around till the very end. And then let's have a discussion in the comments. I want to see what apps you use, what other apps I could probably test out, and maybe I'll make some recommendations to you guys in the comments below as to what else to try out. But without further ado, let's get into it. Okay, everybody, so I'm going to actually pull up the iPad right here on the screen and walk you guys through everything that we got, because we do have the iPad right here. But the first thing we're going to talk about is exactly which iPad I actually have. So I have the 2021 M1 iPad Pro, and in the 256GB variant, only Wi-Fi, so it's just the one step above. I opted not to go with the 128 because I didn't think that was enough. So 256 is where we live at with this iPad Pro, and so far that's been enough space for me. But the first thing I do want to talk about is the actual setup that we have right here, because you can see that my icons are a little bit different. You know, it's not what you would normally see. We have a black icon pack going, and then we have what I call the Lonely Boy wallpaper pack in the background. So I like to keep everything kind of minimal. I like the colors like dark, gray, black, you know, all those different color schemes, and kind of combining them to have a nice little minimal look. And that's what we have going on here. So what I'm going to do is actually show you guys real quick how to customize your home screen by just showing you how to do it with one app. So the first thing you're going to do is you're going to go into your shortcuts. So let's hop into the shortcuts, see exactly what you got going on here. Now this looks a little bit confusing. You can see that I have a bunch of different applications and a bunch of different shortcuts for those applications. But I'm just going to show you guys how to actually create your own icon, whether it is with this icon pack or any images that you want to select in the future. So all you have to do is press on this little plus sign. You're going to name your shortcut. We're going to call this one the test. And then on the right hand side, you have all these options. So what you're going to do is you're actually going to click on scripting. You're going to click on open app, and then you're going to see that something pops up right here for you. So in that little app section, you're going to click on that. So you're going to go in here, we'll do 2K22, and you can see that now it's on there. And then the next thing you're going to do is you're going to go into the little section again to the right and click on this little detail button, press add to home screen, and then here is where you can actually click on the icon, choose a photo, and you can pick anything you want. So let's say we want to actually use the M1 logo as the icon. We're going to press add, and then you can see that it's added to my home screen. And then immediately, and then it just acts like a different app or any other app. So you can move it around, you could add it to the dock, move it over here, and then when you open it, the only caveat that you have, and Apple actually changed this because they made it very annoying in the very beginning. So if you click on it, you will see a little drop down that says test shortcut with a check mark, and it's very quick. Before, it would actually open the shortcuts app, and then it would throw you onto here, and it was like a 3 to 5 second process. But this time around, Apple is making it a little bit easier to customize and have just a little more fun with creating a nice little custom home screen. But that is how you create shortcuts and create custom icons. And again, you can use these icons that I'm going to link down in the description below, or you can use any images that you have from Google or whatever you want to do, or if you just want to put your face on every single icon, you can do that as well. But again, every single application, every widget, everything that I mentioned is going to be linked down below if you guys want to try it out. And also, as this goes on, be sure to comment down below like what icon packs you have, if you have any, or what applications you use, or some alternative applications to the ones that I'm going to show you. So now we got the home screen out of the way. You can see that again, I keep it very minimal. I actually only have one home screen. I have my main applications in the dock on the bottom, and these are my most used applications. Then I have a few smart stacks up here in terms of my widgets, and outside of that, I like to keep it very clean. The one thing that I do miss from iOS and iPadOS 14 is actually the Today view, which technically isn't gone. You can swipe to the left and get your Today view here, but I liked it in iPadOS 14 when you could actually pin your Today view, because it gave you a sense of going into a different operating system, even though it was exactly the same from a function standpoint. But from a visual standpoint, the Today view made me feel like I was doing something a little bit different than I would on your iPhone or whatever the case may be. But the first thing we're going to do is actually we're going to go through applications on the bottom and walk you guys through exactly what I use. So the first one is pretty self-explanatory. We're going to go left to right. So the first one is just my Messages app. Very self-explanatory. It's just iMessage to be able to text people, message them, whatever the case may be. The next one is Safari. I actually use Safari as my main browser. You know, I've used Brave before. I still use Brave every now and then. I've used Google Chrome on iPadOS, which I don't use anymore at all. I even use a little bit of Edge. And every single time I use any of those browsers, I actually end up going right back to Safari. And the main reason is because of the ecosystem, right? I have a MacBook computer right here, I have the iPad, I have Safari on my iPhone. So being able to like bookmark everything and have everything sync across all my devices, you know, having the history still sync across all devices, being able to just use Face ID to get into whatever application or whatever login screen that I need to. And that's pretty much why I've been sticking with Safari this entire time, because it's just the ease of use, being able to kind of, whatever I do on this Safari can also be done on this Safari and the Safari on my MacBook Air. So that's why I've been sticking with it, but my backup one would be the Brave browser, which is a very similar browser to Chrome. It uses Chromium as well, but Brave just has some built-in kind of ad blockers and things like that to avoid getting all these unnecessary ads and avoid your data tracking. But then again, Safari is doing all that good stuff as well. And some new features that came with Safari that I want to highlight. So when you go into your home screen, you can actually customize all this. So if you go to the bottom, whenever you add a new tab, you can actually go down here, press edit, and you have all these new little options like being able to change your background type. So if I want to do, again, if I want the M1 iPad Pro logo to be my background, I can do that. So if I want to be just a big fanboy, you can go back in here. I'm going to change it because I don't really like that. We're going to do this little taco and french fries and burger one that I really like. And then again, you have your favorites up here, your frequently visited, shared with you. So this is another great feature. So anything that's been shared with you via iMessage can now be easily accessed through this little homepage view that you get with Safari. So Safari got some very nice upgrades on iPadOS 15, and it does, again, sync across all this Safari stuff on macOS and on iOS. So that is my browser of choice for the iPad Pro. And then if we go along the line, you do see my mail application. So this is not the actual logo, but I use Spike Mail. Spike Mail is a great application that I've been using for, I want to say about a year now. I actually used to use Spark Mail. Nothing wrong with Spark Mail, still really like it. I honestly don't have it on my iPad anymore. But Spike Mail has been great because what it does is it turns email into more of an informal message conversation. So you can see if I go into one of my conversations, it looks like another text message conversation, right? It doesn't look like a regular email. And what I like about this is that, again, it brings a sense of like informality to email, when in previous years I've always looked at email as a very formal way of communication. And nowadays in a work from home situation, emails become very informal. I used to say things like, hey, how you doing? Hope you had a great weekend, you know, just circling back. So all these like formal kind of things that you're so used to writing in an email, now it just turns into a chat box. So here I was talking to RJ. This is technically an email, even though it looks like a chat. And the beautiful thing about Spike is that even if you are mailing somebody that doesn't use Spike, it still shows up as a regular email. You can still add your signature. You can still be as formal as you want to be. But if you don't want to be formal, you don't have to. And then on top of that, they did add all these new features like being able to add images, GIFs or GIFs, however you say it. You can do voice memos if you want. There's a bunch of like iMessage and like WhatsApp message type functions inside of Spike Mail, which I've really learned to grow and love. And then on top of that, they do have some other features which are nice. So if you do want to use Spike as like your collaboration software, you can actually have shared notes in here, which is awesome. So you can actually go in here and create a note, create task, and then share that with other people. So you can actually collaborate in real time with Spike. So that's a feature that I don't really personally use too much. But from a mail standpoint and from a chat standpoint, I've been loving Spike, and I don't plan to use anything else, honestly, unless somebody else kind of wows me with a new feature. But the main selling point with Spike is A, it's free. Obviously, most of these apps I'm going to show you are free, so that's good to know. And then B, it's just the conversational aspect of Spike Mail has kind of, again, grown on me, and I've grown to really like it. So that's Spike Mail, and like I said, I'm going to have everything linked in the description below, and none of this is sponsored. So this is just me giving you guys my opinion on everything that I like. So we continue going through these applications. Again, we're going from left to right. So the next application that I actually have is the camera application. So as you can see, very self-explanatory. You can see that the camera shortcut does kind of dip down. You have to give it a second. You can see we got the microphone here. If I want to switch it up, here I am. So that's a little bit trippy, which is kind of funny, but just a regular camera app. And I do mostly a lot of PDF scanning. You know, I mean, that's pretty much it. I just scan a lot of documents. Very rarely do I use this as a B-roll camera, but the overall lighting has to be spectacular for me to get the same kind of image and video quality that I do from here on, let's say, something like the iPhone 13 Pro Max, which is what I use as my main camera. And then if we continue on, I just have an icon for my library, my photo library, and I use my photo library as my everything. So normally in my workflow, I'll record on the iPhone, then I airdrop it into my photo library, and then from my photo library, we go into LumaFusion to edit these videos. And we'll get to LumaFusion in a little bit. But then we have my note-taking app of choice, which is, again, just a regular Apple Notes. And again, the same reason I use Safari is the same reason I use the Notes app. I know there are applications out there like Evernote, like GoodNotes, and a bunch of other different ones that people, you know, are diehard fans of. And I've tried a couple of them, you know, things like OneNote I tried in the Microsoft Suite, which I still use on occasion for, you know, work purposes and things like that. But for my personal use, I pretty much just stay with Apple Notes because, again, it syncs across everything. Apple Notes has been getting better updates. Now you can have shared sheets. You can put tags in here to be able to help you search and things like that. You know, it works perfectly with the Apple Pencil. The one thing that I want Apple to add on Apple Notes is that idea of an infinite canvas. So I want to be able to kind of go in here with my pen and my pencil and kind of pinch to zoom and create a bigger canvas. Right now, all I can do is scroll up and down. You can't even scroll left and right. And that is what I want. And that is something that like Evernote, GoodNote, OneNote, all those applications have this idea of an infinite canvas, which I hope at some point Apple does bring over on the Apple Notes. But again, for the most part, for what I use it for, which is video ideas, note-taking during meetings, whether it is with a pencil or with the Magic Keyboard, that's all I need. You know, I can put my images in here, I can put bookmarks in here now, and now the ability to have a quick note is actually a very useful feature. So you can put your bookmarks in here, like I said, and then every single time you open, let's say, so I'll press done here, let's go to the Safari, let's go to ESPN.com, and if I go to ESPN, go to their website, you can actually see that the little note pops up here because it tells you, hey, you're actually on ESPN, which you bookmarked in a previous quick note. Do you want to open up that quick note and see if you have any notes that you took from this website? So that's a cool feature, and again, it all has to do with that Apple ecosystem and that integration that works so well. Okay, so now we're going to break away a little bit from all this Apple talk and all the Apple applications. We're going to go into Affinity Photo. So Affinity Photo is, I think, the Photoshop equivalent for iPadOS and iPhones and things like that, because they're very similar. Like, you can work with Photoshop files in here. I've had people send me Photoshop files, and then I come in here, open them on Affinity Photo, and it works perfectly fine. But again, this is kind of what we deal with. So I'm new to Affinity Photo. I've probably only scratched 10% of what can be done. So things that I kind of do, you know, you go in here, you have your layers. So what I like to do is actually mask my home screen so it looks a little bit crisper in the thumbnails. As you can see, you can work with PNG. So like, for instance, the actual image of the MacBook is just a PNG that I personally made by taking a screenshot from the Apple website, importing it into Affinity Photo, creating a PNG, and then grabbing that PNG file and putting it into this thumbnail file. So you can see that it's very easy to use, and there's a little bit of a learning curve, and the way that I've learned it is just YouTube videos, right? The best way to learn anything is just go find the information yourself, and that's the best way to do it, right? Go on the internet, find all the information you need, learn how to do specific tasks that you need to do so you don't have to go through like an Affinity Photo 101 class. Like, for instance, I got Affinity Photo just because I wanted to learn how to mask, you know, my screens on my iDevices or my tech devices, and then also just create a little bit better thumbnails, right? That's kind of what I wanted to get Affinity Photo for, and that's all the learning that I did. I would literally type that into Google and it would show up. So that's Affinity Photo, and you can see that I have a bunch of different files that just continue to go on, and like I said, I've been using this as my thumbnail editor of choice. Absolutely love it. And then after that, we just have the regular Files app, which again, pretty normal. This is the one application that I do wish Apple would kind of update a little bit better, give me something more of like the Finder that we get on macOS behind us, because there's something about it, even though, yes, we did get, you know, a progress bar finally, so when you're transferring files, you can see, get an idea of how long it's going to take to transfer your files. We finally got that, but the implementation of it just isn't great. You know, I don't like how it's kind of organized. I don't like how the bar is on the left-hand side, even though it looks similar. I don't know how to describe it, and I know a lot of people have the same sentiment when it comes to the Files application. It's just not a pro-level Files app, and it's not the same thing that you would find on Mac OS, which is something that Apple needs to bring over as soon as possible. But so again, this is kind of where I save all my video idea files, all my thumbnail files, and then also all my LumaFusion files. So all my backups are in here, which does take up a lot of space. I'm not gonna lie, with LumaFusion, it takes up a lot of space, and I'm still yet to actually use my SSD as my external source for LumaFusion because just too lazy to kind of figure that out right now, but I will at some point, and hopefully I'll report back to you guys and show you how much better or worse it is to work off of an SSD on the iPad Pro. And then we have, like you guys saw, LumaFusion. So LumaFusion has been my video editing app of choice for a very long time. Like, this channel probably would not exist if I didn't have LumaFusion. I used iMovie, I think, for my very first video, and then I decided, hey, iMovie just isn't enough. It could be enough for a lot of people, and I know, you know, channels with hundreds of thousands, if not millions of subscribers that use iMovie, but I like LumaFusion because it gives you a little bit more customization, and for the price, it's really hard to beat. Like, LumaFusion would get you, I want to say 90 to 95% of the way to Final Cut Pro, when it's only $20 to $40 compared to Final Cut Pro being $300. There are some missing plugins. Like, I wish there was a easier way to get plugins and pre-made plugins that you can purchase from a store, but I guess it just hasn't been out long enough to actually fully take advantage of something like that. But again, LumaFusion has made some great updates with 3.0, so now you have a video stabilizer, which has been super nice, and it's just a software stabilizer, which really makes everything really crisp and fluid and nice. And also with 3.0, you did get the ability to get audio plugins, which sometimes are hit or miss because with third-party plugins, you know, sometimes they're not built perfectly for LumaFusion, but when they work well. And then also we got, like I said, external SSD support with LumaFusion, which is something a lot of people wanted, so they wouldn't have to carry all of their files and all of their content on the iPad Pro's main hard drive. And then if we continue on, these are pretty self-explanatory. We have Twitter. If you guys want to follow me, by all means, I do tweet a lot, and I've been tweeting, pretty heavily the last, I want to say, few months. So if you guys do want to follow me, it's linked down in the description below. And then we have YouTubeTV, which I am a subscriber of. I cut the cord about 2 years ago. Like the moment YouTubeTV came out, that's all I use for all my cable needs. And I usually use YouTubeTV just to watch sports, right? So basketball season started yesterday or 2 days ago now. Big fan of the Miami Heat. And I'm excited for the NBA season. I'll be watching a lot of the games right here on YouTube TV. And also I watch a lot of football stuff. So I'm a big Miami Dolphins fan, watch their games every Sunday either on here or on NFL Sunday Ticket, which is another purely football service. But YouTube TV is like my cord cutting cable provider of choice. I've tried Sling TV, but YouTube TV it just works so well. I have YouTube TV on all my TVs, I have it on my iPad, on my iPhone, on my computer. It just works as advertised, and for the most part, it has zero downtime. And then again, we have YouTube. Obviously, everybody knows what YouTube is. Leave some comments down below. What are some new channels that you guys have found, whether tech related or not? I'm a big, in terms of types of creators that I watch outside of the tech community, I watch a lot of travel channels. I like to watch travel channels, see what people are doing, see where they're going, and also a lot of personal finance. So big Graham Stephan, Andre Jake, those are all the kind of channels that I watch aside from all the tech stuff that comes out. And then if we continue on, I'm a Spotify user, big time. I have not gone to Apple Music. I don't really plan on going to Apple Music. I was very tempted to get like the Apple One service for $30 a month because I do pay for Apple TV. I do pay $12 a month for Spotify already. I do pay $5 a month for Apple Arcade, and then I think I paid $2.99 for the 200 gigabyte iCloud service. So right there, we're almost at $30. So I almost thought about going to Apple Music a few months ago, but I don't know. I just can't give up Spotify right now. And Spotify also pays for my Hulu, so another way that Spotify kind of locks you in. And I've been using Spotify for like 6-7 years, so Spotify knows me very well. They know the type of music that I listen to, the type of podcast that I listen to. This Dragon Ball Z one is actually really, really funny. So if you guys do want to pick up a new podcast and are Dragon Ball Z fans, this one's pretty cool. The premise is Eric hates Dragon Ball Z. It's two big Dragon Ball Z fans that actually convinced their one friend who hates Dragon Ball Z why Dragon Ball Z is amazing. And they kind of just go through all the episodes. Very nostalgic. Really, really like it. And also leave some comments down below, any podcasts that are cool that I should listen to. You guys already know my interest a little bit like I just mentioned, or any new music that I should take a peek into while I'm doing some work. And then the last two is just the App Store and the Settings tab. For the App Store, like I said, I am an Apple Arcade subscriber, so I do take advantage of it, but I'm mostly an Apple Arcade subscriber purely for NBA 2K, but we'll touch on that in a little bit. But now we got the main applications out of the way. These are my every single day used apps. The next thing I'm going to talk about is the widgets. So all three of these widgets are actually the medium-sized ones, and they're actually smart stacks. So let's start on the left-hand side. This is just my weather widget. It's called Weatherline. Unfortunately, Weatherline is no longer available in the App Store, and they're going to cut service, I think, at the end of either this year or early next year. Somebody bought them. I don't know exactly who it was, if it was Apple or not, but I don't know. Weatherline was an awesome application that I used to use for weather all the time, and I just love their widget on the iPad home screen. So that's Weatherline. Apple's weather widget is amazing. That's what I use on the iPhone. So I'm probably eventually going to just have to switch back to that once this one kind of goes out of service, sadly. But for now, it's going to be my weather widget of choice. If I swipe down, this is my SubWidget, 35.2K subs. You guys are amazing. So let's get that number up as fast as we can. Let's try to get to 50K subs and see how long that takes us to do. But again, this is just a widget counter. And then before we continue, to add widgets, if you guys are unaware, you just hold down on the home screen, press this little plus sign, and then you have the ability to add whatever widgets you want. And then if you want to add, let's say you want to add a stack, let's go to the Spotify one. You can see that this is the long one. To add into a stack, you got to make sure they're the same size widget, and you just grab the widget and throw it into here, and then you can actually just click on here and scroll through them. And then you have the idea of widget suggestions on, which I actually like to turn off, and then you have the smart rotate, which kind of rotates depending on when the iPad and when the software thinks you're going to need to see whatever's on that widget. But let's get rid of the Spotify one because I don't want that one there. Go back. And then if we move over to the next widget, so this one has to do with my calendar and then my mail. So this one is the Spike Mail widget. So this widget actually shows you your 3 latest emails that came in, which I really like. And then next to that is my Google Calendar widget. And then on the right-hand side is actually my investment widgets, right? So here I have my regular stock widget. So this one is by Public. I'm a huge advocate of this platform. I never really liked Robinhood. And the beautiful thing about Public is that there is a nice kind of social aspect to it. So it's kind of like if Robinhood and Twitter made a baby and spat out Public without all the bad publicity that Robinhood has. So Public allows you to invest into any stock in the stock market pretty much that you could find, and they're constantly adding new ones. You have the ability to share what you're investing in, what you're selling, why you're selling it, why you're holding, and I'm actually very active on here, so if you guys do want to check it out, I'm going to leave it linked in the description below. It's great for information. In my opinion, it's great for beginning investing because everybody here is so positive. There's no real like scam artist on here because once you're on the platform, you can't make money off of somebody else that's already on the platform. So everything on here is just informative. It's just investment advice. Some people say like, hey, let's do a challenge together. Let's all invest $100 into this ETF and see where we are a year from now and kind of compare numbers. So that's what I love about this community. I'm a big advocate of it. And now recently they did add some crypto trading. So crypto is still pretty new on here. You still have to be on the wait list. I have access to it. And it's very similar to Robinhood in the aspect of you don't fully own the crypto that you're buying yet. You own a node of the crypto. So once they start adding like wallet addresses onto here, and if this is all going over your head, by all means skip this. But once they add wallet addresses and the ability to transfer actual crypto assets, then I'll probably go more into this from a crypto standpoint because I just like Public, what they stand for, and what the community is trying to do there. And honestly, the portfolio just continues to grow, which is nice to see. And then again, talking about crypto, my crypto app of choice obviously has to be Coinbase, and that one's very self-explanatory. I'm going to link everything down in the description below, but I really like Coinbase's widget as well. So those are my like 6 widgets. So it's 3 smart stack widgets, and each stack has 2 widgets, and this is all the information I like to see at a glance at all times whenever I need it. So those are my widgets of choice. And then the last thing that I want to bring up from a software standpoint is just the app library. So there's some honorable mention apps that I use almost on a daily basis, and the 2 that I want to mention from a gaming standpoint is actually NBA 2K22, which just released on Apple Arcade, which is awesome to have. I was a big NBA 2K21 on the Apple Arcade user, played it pretty much the entire year. So fun with my career, and what they added in this one was they added my association mode finally, so you can actually be an entire team instead of just being the player on a team. And then also the other game is Marvel Strike Force. Marvel Strike Force, I've been playing this game for I want to say like 2.5 years, and my team is freaking raw. My team is amazing. So Marvel Strike Force, if you guys want to check those 2 games out, I'll link them down below. And then some other ones on here that I like from a personal finance standpoint is mint.com. So Mint, it kind of just aggregates all of your personal finance stuff. So, you know, your income, your debts, you know, your assets, everything kind of put into one thing to then give you your net worth and then kind of keep track of all the transactions and money going in and out. And then lastly, Slack. So Slack is what I use as a messenger for work. And if you guys have been seeing those Slack commercials lately, it gives me like anxiety every time I see those commercials where it's like doo-doo-doo, and then I have to like look over thinking that my Slack messages are going off. But that is what I got in the app library. And then what I want to mention now, we'll turn off the actual iPad screen. And then now that we got all the software stuff out of the way, so we went over all the apps that I use, all the widgets that I use, the app library, the home screen, the icons that I use. And then what I physically always have on the iPad Pro is a Paperlike screen protector. And if you guys made it to this point in the video, you guys are legends, and one of you guys deserves a free Paperlike. So use this code right here. Go to the website, put this code in for a completely free Paperlike. Thank you so much, Paperlike, for giving me this code, and we're gonna have another one in a future video. So definitely stay subscribed if you guys want to get a free Paperlike, and leave a comment down below if you were able to actually redeem it, because that'd be awesome. And then also, I always have my Pitaka kind of like thin, super thin case that can actually work with the Magic Keyboard. So on the iPad itself, Paperlike screen protector, Pitaka Aramid fiber, like super thin case on the Magic Keyboard, and then I want to say like 90% of the time I have the Apple Pencil on there. Just right now, I actually don't have it on there because it's in my backpack. But that is pretty much going to do it, everybody. Sorry if this was a super long video. I just kind of wanted to go in depth of everything that I use. And again, I want this to be a discussion. So leave some comments down below of what you use, why you use it, what other applications I should check out that would probably work with my workflow from any standpoint that you see. You guys have been watching me for a while. But that's going to do for this video. So don't forget to like, comment, subscribe. Thanks so much for watching. And we're going to get out of here. I'm actually going to stand up and leave because somebody in the last video commented that I didn't get up and leave. And the reason I did it is because I have this microphone right here. But let's get up and leave.